हेलो गाइस, कैसे बॉयज? हेलो हेलो हेलो, आर वी लाइव? लेट्स सी. Oh nice. Yeah, so we are here to watch this.
I'd encourage you to check them out. Feel free to scan these QR codes to follow them, join their Discord, and also potentially submit an idea for them to consider and potentially
So
fund.
today is the launch of Lux AI Challenge,
And
guys.
they will
Season
also
2
be around
kickoff.
online in our Discord if you have any questions.
And
as
I'm
well.
thinking of like streaming all
Lastly,
of
we're
this,
super excited to introduce our third
all
sponsor,
the
Regression
all
Games.
my code, etc.
Their whole thing is they want you to
stream
experience the future
on
of gaming
YouTube.
with Regression
Can
Games, for
follow
AI
me.
and gaming to life. Regression Games is building an accessible and enjoyable experience for players to create game AIs, code characters, train models, and compete in their favorite games. We highly encourage you to enjoy their community and battle for top spots and earn achievements and collaborate with friends to earn prizes and ultimate glory in their platform. They told us one of the best ways to try out their platform is to go and playtest their platform right now at play.regression.gg.
Coffee
So now
peeing
we're
it,
going to
thoda
some of
boys.
the prizes. Bovari, maybe you can build this.
15K, $15,000, boys. First prize.
Oh, Bovari, you need it or?
Let's go. Can you guys hear?
I need it now. Okay. Okay, I think the other person who was live streaming with me just dropped. I think I will take care of the rest of now. Yeah, I can hear you now. Are you back?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, prizes. So yeah, first place is 15,000, which is a huge prize. That was basically the full prize pool of season 1. So a big step up. Second place is 10K. Third and fourth place is 5K, and then fifth through eighth is 2.5. And are these the newest details?
Sorry, what?
Is that the newest breakdown?
Yeah, that's our newest breakdown now.
There you go.
Yeah. We'll also be having a regular sprint award. If you guys were here last season, we gave out merchandise for people who were placed in the top 2 at the end of each month. Well, not the end of this month. So what will happen is at the end of each month, February 6th, February 28th, and March 31st, we'll be giving awards to the top 2 competitors who haven't won this prize before, and that will come with like custom merchandise that we'll release later. And these can only be won once per team, and also includes a free competition T-shirt. And a special award from our Quanco sponsors. They'll be again awarding awards for the best 10 individual competitors and the best 10 teams, which counts as multiple member teams in the competition based on the final leaderboard. This year, they're also looking for the best deep reinforcement learning and the best supervised learning solution. So if you want to be considered for that, just submit to the competition and we'll go through submissions to figure out who has what category.
Okay.
Yeah. And yeah, so all our merchandise from Quanco and ourselves will basically be merged. The only monetary prices are based on the final leaderboard. And yeah, make sure to follow us on our socials. You can check out the competition in Kaggle later. We will release the link soon. Join our Discord, check out our GitHub. All the code is released, and our website at luxai.org. And we hope you guys have a good time competing. Good luck, everyone.
So there's no launch, no video, nothing.
Sorry, one more the thing. We're gonna go over the review. So if anyone wants to stick around, we can cover the review, rules. I completely forgot. So season 2 review rules. So season 2 is a completely different rule set than the first season. The background again is we're gonna be terraforming Mars.
Oh.
Yep. You can check out the rules now at
Wow.
luxai.org/specs-2. So the key environment here is basically you have 2 competing teams controlling a team of factory and robots that collect resources and plant lichen. Your main objective is basically to own as much lichen as possible until the end of a turn-based game. In this game, it's full observability, not partial observability, so you get to see everything about the entire enemy and your own team's information, such as
Okay,
your
that's good.
resources, which units they
So we have
control,
full
where they,
visibility
etc.
of the environment.
And all of this is complete centralized control. So on your own team, you control every single unit. At each turn, we give you up to 3 seconds to submit actions, and you also have an additional overage pool of 60 seconds, which is dipped into every time you go over the 3-second limit. After you go over the limits, your agent will freeze and lose automatically. Yeah, Rory, you want to go cover some of these sections?
Fair. So this year for the map, last year obviously we just had kind of the different resources on the map. This year we actually have some rubble, which affects how quickly you can move. And there are 2 different resources on the map, which you'll find there are ice tiles and ore tiles. Your robots can mine those and take them to factories, which will turn them into water and metal. And on the map, you will also find rubble. So rubble affects how quickly your robots can move. Your factories can grow lichen, which we'll talk about in a little bit, and also build robots. We're also doing a day-night cycle, just like last season. 30 turns during the day, 20 turns during the night. Your robots generate power during the day only, but not during the night. And factories generate power regardless. And they generate power, just 50 power, and then additional power from connected lichen tiles. As I mentioned before on the resources, you can mine ice. The ice is processed up to 100 a turn at each of your factories to turn into water at a process ratio of 4:1, so you get 25 water a turn out of that. And the ore is processed at 50 turn at a 5:1 ratio, so you gain 10 ore out of that. Something that's really new, so we have a completely asymmetric map this year, and the starting phase. So at the beginning of the starting phase, the players get to bid on who's going to place their first factory. So we have a completely empty map. It's asymmetrical. There's some ice tiles over here, some ore tiles over here, some rubble sprinkled around the map, and you have to figure out, is it more beneficial on
So
this
guys,
map
we'll
to go
look at
first
this
or to go
in
second?
detail
And you place
later.
a bid, and the bid will remove from your starting.
So
resources.
Luxai basically is
So
a
let's say you
deep
place
RL
2 factories.
Like
So you would
you have to
start
use
with
reinforcement
300
learning, yeah.
water and metal.
बहुत interesting
And
होता है guys.
there's a really good spot that you think is a game-winning good spot. So you have to figure out how much you would bid for that spot. So maybe
ये Clash
you
of
think
Clans और Age of
50,
Empires
but
खेलते
if the
ना
other
अपन.
player does 51 and they get that really good
उसके
spot.
close है.
Is that threshold where
Like
you think
StarCraft
you made them
2
pay
है.
enough, or maybe it's
Similar.
closer to 100? Then obviously
it's a
you have to
very,
use the rest of
like,
these
small
resources
number.
to build your robots. So there's some really interesting bidding dynamics there, some really interesting placement dynamics. Adds a whole new dimension to the game.
And just to look
So-
at,
Yeah, let's see.
I was gonna show them maps.
Yeah.
This is an example of the map.
Cool.
And also this visualizer is graciously provided by one of our competitors, Jasper. You might see him in Discord with Green J. He helped make this really nice minimal version which runs super fast. And we will also be introducing like the typical kind of assets we include in the coming future. But the minimal version is good for programming. You can kind of see some of the map variations. So this is like one of the maps. Randomly stores ore everywhere, random placements of ice, random placements of rubble, and it's quite interesting to play with. So yeah.
Yeah, so I'll do actions here and then I'll let you take over for the robots zone. So robots and factories can perform actions. Our factory actions are really simple. Either you kind of water or not, and automatically does the rest. The robots, we have 2 different classes of robots here. And what's
Okay,
really
so-
special about robots this year is an action queue. So instead of just saying move north, and then the next time you go move north, if you want to move somewhere that's like 3 squares north and 2 squares east, you could queue up, move north, move north, move north, move east, and get, you set the action queue, and then your robot will execute that queue. And crucially, it costs power to set. So for those that are planning ahead, you're going to be more power efficient. And we have some really flexible ways to put actions in this queue. You can say, do this action and put it back at the end of the queue infinitely times. So you could like mine, transfer, mine, transfer sort of things. Or you can say, do this action in a certain number of times. So we have, it's extremely flexible, will be very important. And then as the conditions change, you'll obviously have to go and update those. But this will be a very interesting mechanic, and make sure that there's some more depth.
Yeah.
And I'll let Stone talk about the robots.
Yeah. These will present very interesting problems for both heuristic solutions and RL solutions. We will also be releasing a basic RL baseline this year. Last year we only shared a heuristic one, but this year, because of the JAX environment, RL is much more possible and much faster. So we're going to try to release a simple baseline for that for people to try off the bat. But let's introduce the robots. This year, compared to last year, we had like 2 kinds of robots or units this time. They're actually the same kind of unit, but they have different capabilities or performances. So this time we have a light and a heavy. The general idea is that the heavy will accomplish 10x more, but its actions will cost more. And this idea is the fact that in our maps, you might notice that the resources are incredibly sparse. So if you're trying to mine and dig up resources, well, you want to have higher throughput, so you might want to use a heavy unit instead of a light unit, which mines super slowly. So these 2 units have the same action space. These are all the actions that are possible, and these are all actions that are individual actions in an action queue. So you can think this action space is actually incredibly expansive, which actually makes RL a very difficult problem to solve here. So the first action is movement. You can move north, east, south, west, or center. Moving center is treated as a no-op. It's also equivalent to a 0 vector in the action space, so basically submitting that action does nothing. But the other ones will move your unit, 1 unit in those directions. Transfer is a way to transfer resources, and you'll definitely need this to transfer any dug up resources back to your factory so it can be converted into water or metal. And the way this works is that you can either transfer to an adjacent robot or transfer to a factory tile. And if you look at the factories, these factories are actually 3 by 3. So you'll notice that some of these robots here, like this heavy unit here, these are actually two agents from last season. This heavy has like 120 ice, and it's going to deliver its ice to the factory below. So you can see it goes down and delivers all its ice. So transfers are possible, and these are much more necessary, unlike last year. Pickup is another feature. So there are 3x3 factory tiles. Your unit can be on any one of those tiles and pick up resources from the factory. One strong strategy that a lot of competitors employed during the beta season is they picked up the extra power that's generated by the factory to fast start their performance. You can also pick up metal or water to potentially deliver it to another factory. Dig. This is a simple action. This time you dig directly under you. You have to be on top of either one of these tiles. So if it's a rubble-less resource tile, we can look at the example here, like these tiles here, this is ice, this is ore, you will automatically gain resources for that tile.
Okay.
If it's a tile of rubble, such as this tile here, this has 80 rubble on it, when you dig on it, you reduce the rubble down, all the way down to a minimum of 0. And lights will reduce it slower than heavies, effectively. And then if there's lichen on a tile, which is one of the key things you need to actually score points in this game, then it will reduce the lichen value. Something different to beta, for those coming from beta, is that now if the lichen value was previously greater than 0 and now it's been reduced to 0, rubble is now added, which prevents lichen from regrowing immediately. Finally, we have another feature called self-destruction. So this destroys a robot on the spot at a fast rate for generating rubble. It'll generate 1 rubble as a light unit and 10 rubble as a heavy unit. Next, we have a recharge X action. This action doesn't do anything. It actually just tells your robot to wait until it has X power. And this is just so you can program some more efficient action queues that allow your agent to wait for the power to be generated before executing like a dig action, which costs quite a lot of power. And so now looking at our actions, so we have the following here. These are kind of all the resource costs or power costs to do any of them. So transfer, pickup, self-destruct, and recharge. Recharge, pickup, transfer, all cost no power. Movement, dig, self-destruct, all cost power. Another thing to be wary of is that you're going to have to do some kind of path planning. And that's because with movement, it costs extra power to move onto tiles with rubble. So you want to be careful to conserve power by not moving onto high rubble tiles and maybe navigating around them. The other thing to note is that for each action, there's also an additional N and repeat attribute. N in this action queue basically means that we're going to try to execute this action up to N times. The repeat variable would just say that once you finish executing this N times, we'll put it back to the end of the action queue and we'll refresh it. Feel free to check out the code to figure out how this works. Any questions so far? Feel free to leave it in the chat.
What's the chat saying, guys?
Yeah, someone asked a question about what Python library are you planning to use for RL baseline. There will be a stable baseline 3 baseline. And the baseline is quite simple. The idea of the baseline for RL solution is basically we're going to reduce the action space and observation space significantly and make the game easier to train. And then you can get a decent agent out of it. The next mechanic we have is movement, collisions, and rubble.
So simple,
so now that each square on the map has a rubble value, this affects how difficult that square is to move onto. So the rubble can range from 0 to 100 inclusive. The exact power required to move onto a square with rubble can be found in the table above, we've shown earlier. And it can also be moved on the square by a light or heavy
So like
robot.
there are 3 things here. There's a rubble,
so this road environment has
there's this
robot collisions,
lichen,
unlike
and
last
there's
year.
this ice.
Robots which move onto the same square in the same turn can be destroyed and add rubble to the square according to the following rules. So first thing is we check weight class. If 2 units end up on the same square and one of them is heavy, the heavy will always survive.
Okay.
All light units will get destroyed. Now if two or more robots of the same weight and they're trained in the same square, we do the following checks. So if one of the units moved onto the square, the moving unit survives. If none of the units move on the square, all of them are destroyed. And then finally, if multiple units try to move onto the same square, then the unit with the most power survives. And the surviving unit then loses power equal to half the power of the unit with the second most power in the collision.
So like can we like, look at these
Yeah,
units?
and then this is also another way to add rubble onto a tile by crashing 2 robots. This will add 1 rubble for each crash robot, and it'll add 10 rubble for each crash robot for the heavy. And also note is that whenever rubble is added onto a tile with lichen on it, it will automatically remove the lichen and add rubble and prevent regrowth on there easily. Someone asked a question, having not participated in the beta, are there differences in the specs or are they not released? The current specs released on this link here, lexai.org/specs-s2, this will be the official specs. There are some differences with beta, so we recommend you to read through the official one. Someone also asked a question, is understanding source code important for playing the game well? I don't think you need to. I actually think if you just go off the specs, you can actually do quite well. But there are some specific details that you might want to check the code for. But if you have any questions, feel free to ask in Discord
we'll
and
go through
clarify
this,
any of
guys.
these details.
After
And we're always
that,
trying to improve the documentation,
it.
so if there's something that's missing, we'll add them. Yeah. Factories.
Okay, this is factories.
So yeah, factories, these
So
are
like
interesting
that.
units. These are not 1x1 units. They actually take up 3x3 tiles of space.
Okay.
And they actually can't be spawned. They can only be spawned at the beginning of the game. So robots that created for factory will appear at the center of the factory, and allied robots can move onto any one of the factory 9's tiles, but enemies cannot. So each turn, a factory will passively do a lot of things. It will gain 50 power regardless of day or night via its nuclear generator, and also gain power equal to the number of connected lightning tiles, which we will cover later. It will convert up to 100 ice per turn to 25 water, and it will convert up to 50 ore to 10 metal, in the same ratio we discussed earlier. And every turn to survive, the factory needs to consume 1 water, or else, if there's no water left, the nuclear reactor in the factory will explode, destroying the factory and leaving rubble behind. Now, in each turn, the factory doesn't have an action queue, it will just perform the action directly. You can either build a light robot, build a heavy robot, or grow the lichen by watering lichen around the factory. And so the cost for building robots is the following here. Heavy robots basically just cost 10 more. And when robots spawn, they'll be spawned with that power cost. So when you spawn a heavy robot, it'll start off with 500 power, which you can use to move around and dig and get your initial resources. Bovard, would you like to cover the Lycan? And then I'll show a video of the Lycan growing later.
Absolutely. So Lycan is sort of super here. It's basically our end game mechanic for winning the game of our two kind of win conditions, which we'll talk about in a little bit. So whoever has the highest value of Lycan. So on each tile of Lycan, as you water it, it grows to a maximum of 100. And then in addition, it grows to the surrounding tiles. So once it hits a threshold of 20 Lycan in a specific tile, it will then spill over to surrounding tiles and start to grow that way. And only on tiles that do not have rubble or some sort of resource on them. So you can
so like this is like farming
that way.
Having Lycan.
The second thing is Lycan is attached to a specific factory. So the factory waters it. When it encounters a separate Lycan field from any other factory, including your own, they do not merge. So they kind of create a boundary between each other. You can envision the Lycan strands kind of sending out some poisonous roots or something to fend off the other Lycan swarm. But the whole Lycan field then produces extra power for the factory through the magic of the Lycan. And so if you have 12 attached tiles with any Lycan value, it could be 1, could be 100, you'll get an additional 12 power per turn for the factory. So there's some advantage of building this early to gain a power economy. It's also advantage to building it late. And since it does cost water actively to maintain, if you don't water it, it's going to start dying. There's some interesting trade-offs to figure out here. If you build Lycan early to get some power, or if you hang on to all your water for late game to water that as well.
Yeah. So just to give you a reference of how Lycan grows, because it's not very intuitive sometimes. You can take a look at some of the people from last season, beta. So the colors here represent your team's Lycan, and they kind of grow in a radial way, such that it fills up any non-rubble space. So you can just watch it here. And it looks quite interesting. It kind of reminds me of like Game of Life a little bit.
Yeah.
So over time, your Lycan will grow throughout day and night. And it will make sure that it doesn't grow through rubble. So you'll see this team, they actually try to dig around the space to give it more space to grow. So space control in Season 2 is actually quite important. You need to give yourself space to grow Lycan, and you want to find spots that have open space. So in this particular map, there actually isn't quite a lot of space, because if you started the map, there's actually like no space here at all. And then they actually expand it all the way down to here, where there's no rubble. Yeah, and then you'll notice that these factories also generate extra power because there's extra Lycan. Yeah. And then we also provide a game resolution order. This order here is mostly just kind of like programmed based on our programming and how we implement it. So whenever you want to figure out if an action is valid or not, this is how we check it. What we do is we basically check all submitted actions against the current game state to see if they're valid. So like you can't move off the map. You can't submit actions without enough power. You can't do some invalid things. So we first have everyone submit actions that are valid, then we execute digging, self-destruct actions, which remove and add rubble. Then we perform robot building actions, then we do movement and recharge actions, and then resolve all collisions. And then factories that water the tiles will now go Lycan. And then we transfer resources and power, pick up resources and power, these are processed, and then factories get to refine resources, and then power is gained. Sorry about that. And the win conditions this year is basically after 1,000 turns, the winner is whichever team has the most Lycan value on the map. If any team loses all the factories, they automatically lose and the other team wins. And if the Lycan value is tied or both teams lose all their factories at the same time, then the game ends in a draw. And that is it for rules for Season 2.
And to jump in, to actually lose factories, remember your factory requires 1 water return.
Yeah.
So it's actually, and factories, your units can move on them, but the opponents cannot. So factories are kind of a safe space for your robots to run onto if you're kind of afraid. They produce power during day and night, and they're quite hard to kill. To kill a factory, you basically need to choke off robots delivering water to it for
Yep.
a lot of turns. And even a single light robot can carry 100 water, right? So if you can get one light robot into a besieged factory, you can hold out for another
Yep.
100 turns.
Yeah.
So it's very difficult to kill a factory, basically.
Yeah. And there's a general like progression here that we added. So for a lot of like new competitors, we recommend you to first figure out how to survive. That's not straightforward necessarily. So you want to try to survive for 1,000 turns. And once you get there, then you can start considering like the opponent and then some more interesting mechanics. So we hope that will be an interesting way to compete. Yeah. Anything else we want to like cover potentially? This is mostly it.
Any questions in the chat?
I think I answered all of them. Maybe we can go through GitHub real quick. What else do we have? Oh, yeah. So this is our GitHub. You can start looking at things. This capital link will open up soon. And then you can actually already install the package. So you simply just run this command, install the package. You can run a command here, run this to generate replay. You can upload it to
Okay,
a
so
replay
they've
viewer.
given this Git repo.
Someone was asking about concept of factions. Factions are currently delayed. We have a couple things we need to sort out for that. So I don't know what the current timeline is for factions, but
Why is the stream
right now they're
quality
just
so low?
for
man?
aesthetic purposes. May not be here this month at least.
Streaming at
We have a
480p,
Python C++
man.
kit for people who want to program with Java or JavaScript. There are PRs
Hello.
for it, but they're still being reviewed. So we're trying to merge them.
Do feel free to chat, guys.
Can rules change during the contest? This season, we are anticipating no rule changes because we already ran in beta and basically changed all the rules already. So we don't anticipate any kind of rule changes. So if someone's going to implement like
So
C++
like
engine,
whoever is new,
you should be.
so like this is a like mostly a reinforcement learning competition. So like basically you have to make an agent which will play the Lux AI game. Oh, hi Sanket, how are you? कैसे हो मेरे दोस्त? कोडिंग करतो का नाही संकेत भावा? So basically इसमें you have to make an agent like will play the game on its own, and yeah, so like we saw the wind conditions here. So basically at the end, if you see, yeah, so if after 1000 turns, whichever team has the most lichen wins, and like there are many things inside it. So the basic idea is that your agent will basically have a certain number of actions, and like, so for example the factory produces those robots, like, and then the robots, how they move is also passed through an action, and like collecting the lichen, collecting the rubble, etc. These are the actions, and like the state of your environment is basically where all the things are. So like this competition is as they said, like complete visibility. So at all the time you'll know where the opponent's robots are, what their size is, where all the factories, etc. are. Yeah, so like, and the second thing is like if any team loses all of the factories, they automatically lose. Okay, Java boys. अरे शिक पाइथन इजी है पाइथन इंग्लिश है रे. सो संकेत फेस्टिवल आहे, काय करतोय आजकाल, कसं चालू आहे? जुगाड़ू सेटअप है गाइस, इधर मोबाइल रखा है, चैट पढ़ने के लिए. So, okay, what are they saying?
Solution from last season. There was also a really good RL solution from last season. This is from the first place team last time. They wrote an RL solution, so these are all good things to look at. Any other questions?
Java तर येऊ दे पहिले म्हणे. अरे गेम आहे रे बेसिकली यार. डीप रिइन्फोर्समेंट लर्निंग वापरायचं. मला तुला वाटतं पायथन येतं. एक दिस इज अ कॉम्पिटिशन ऑफ कॅगल गाईस. कागले. Corporate life sucks. Lol. True that, actually. At least you get paid, bro. And अजून काय चालू आहे भाई? पुण्यातच आहेस का आजकाल? So let's look at the actions. Yeah, so okay, background. So as the sun set on the world, an array of lights dotted the once dark horizon. Bapre. With the help of a brigade of toads, Lux had made it past the terrors in the night to see the dawn of a new age. And like movieचं हेच वाटते. Seeking new challenges, plans were made to send a forward force with one mission: terraform Mars. क्या है ना terraform? Okay. So environment क्या है? In the Lux challenge tree over resources plant. हाँ lichen grow करायचे, farming करायचे, Clash of Clans सारखं. Clash of Clans नाही, Age of Empires सारखं. With the main objective to own as much lichen as possible at the end of the turn-based game. Both teams have complete information about the entire game state. कुठे गेलं? हां हेच मी म्हणत होतो, complete visibility असणार आहे. And we'll need to make use of the information to optimize resource collection, compete for scarce resources against the opponent, and grow lichen to score points. So complete information, as I said, is like you know everything there in the given environment, right? So म्हणजे इथे जरी तुमची फॅक्टरी आणि इथे तुमचे रोबोट्स असतील तरी यू नो वॉट एक्झॅक्टली युअर ऑपोनंट इज डुईंग. सो लाईक यू कॅन प्लॅन वॉट टू डू नेक्स्ट. So each competitor must program their own agent in the language of choice. अरे language of choice है. Java is also there. अरे मुंबई को है क्या? एक नंबर. मुंबई आने वाला था मैं. आने के बाद कॉल करूँगा पक्का. तू पुणे में आला कि कॉल कर. मिलते. Each turn, each agent gets 3 seconds to submit their actions. Access time is not saved across turns. In each game, each player is given a pool of 60 seconds that is tapped into each time the agent goes over the 3-second limit. Upon using all 60 seconds and going over the 3-second limit, the agent freezes and loses automatically. Corporate life. अरे नक्की 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 भेटू. जरा आम्हाला पण टिप्स द्या रे, कॉर्पोरेटमध्ये घुसू कसं. स्ट्रगलिंग यूट्यूबर आहे, स्ट्रगलिंग यूट्यूबर. Three seconds to submit their action. अच्छा, so Python code runtime 3 seconds पाहिजे per loop. Access time is not saved across turns. चॅड. हो चॅड आहे. गॉगल्स नाहीत रे माझ्याकडे, नाहीतर आत्ता घालून बसला असतो. गाईज वी स्ट्रीम इन मराठी, हिंदी, इंग्लिश. अजून कुठली लँग्वेज असेल ती पण सांगा. शिव्या अलाउड ऑन दिस चॅनल. कधी आले तर डोंट माइंड. Any coding doubt you can ask. No guarantee you'll get the answer, but we'll try. We are here to learn, guys. Nice start. One viewer. Day-night cycle consists of 50-turn cycle. The first 30 turns being day turns, the last 20 being night. During the day, sonar panels replenish the power of the robot, but during the night, robot's power is not rechargeable. Factories generate power. 50 additional power. अच्छा. हे Mars they've copied the Mars thing. So like सकाळी कुठे पण हिंडा, but रात को you have to come back near to the factories. And like there will be this thing, no? If the power is 0, the robot dies. है का असं काय? Light and heavy, every robot has an action queue and will attempt to execute the action at the front of the queue. अच्छा. ॲक्शन क्यू द्यायला लागतो रोबोटला. तर पहिले तर देर दिस डिफरन्स. चल रे, गुड नाईट ब्रो, थँक्स फॉर जॉईनिंग. कीप जॉईनिंग. हे सिरीज कंटिन्यू करणार आहे आपण. विल लाईक गेट अ गुड एजंट इन दिस कॉम्पिटिशन दिस टाईम, आणि पार्ट्समध्ये करेल. सो कीप जॉईनिंग. तुमची टिप्स आणि आयडियाज खूप इम्पॉर्टंट आहेत. एकत्र सॉल्व करायचं आहे गाईज. सो कीप जॉईनिंग. थँक्स रे संकेत. भेटू. गुड नाईट. बाय. मिलते. उद्या सकाळपर्यंत पण चालू असू शकते स्ट्रीम. आय बोलून जा. सायोनारा. आणि काय लाईट 100 आहे. हेवी इज 1000. फॅक्टरी इन्फानाइट. light and heavy robots share the same set of action space. However, in general, heavy robots generally accomplish 10x more with their actions, but their actions will cost more power. कार्गो स्पेस जास्त आहे हेवीची 10 times, and battery capacity is also 20 times more. Oh, that's nice. And like power charge during days 10, 50, 50 all the time. $50 म्हणजे काय 50 ॲड होणार. Okay, and let's look at resources. So there are like two kinds of raw resources, ice and ore, which can be refined by factory into water and metal. Oh, nice. So these resources are collected by light or heavy robots, then dropped off once a robot transfers them to friendly factory, which then automatically converts them into refined resources on a constant rate. Okay, refined resources are used for growing lichen, scoring points, as well as building more robots. So like, does lichen require some specific amount of resources and specific type? So okay. Lastly, factories will process ice and ore integer units at a time without wasting any based on the processing ratio. अच्छा ठीक आहे, इंटीजर मध्ये खेळायचं आहे. ओके, सो इफ अ फॅक्टरी हॅज 8 ore, it will refine 5 ore into 1 metal and leave 3 ore left over. Okay, म्हणजे metal is never converted in produced in fractions. ते कळलं. If a factory has 7 ice, it will refine 4 ice into 1 water. अच्छा 4 आईसची 1 पाणी आहे आणि it's like 5 ores का 1 metal आहे and leave like 3 ice left over. That's okay. 4:1, 5:1. ठीक आहे. आणि the map, the world of flux is represented as a 2D grid. That's fine. Coordinates increase east, right, and south down. ठीक है. The map is also, so the origin is basically on top left. The map is always a square and is 48 tiles long. So 48 tiles long, 48 by 48. Okay, the 0,0 coordinate is at the top left. The map has various features including raw resources, ice ore, refined resources, water, metal. अच्छा डायरेक्ट रिफाइंड पण आहे. आणि रोबोट्स लाइट हेवी, फॅक्टरीज रबल लायकन. ठीक आहे. अच्छा रबल and ore is different. Okay, code wise the coordinates x, y in a map features such as rubble is indexed by board.rubble. अच्छा board.rubble x, y म्हणलं की for ease of use. अच्छा ठीक है. So if you pass in some x, y, you get the amount of rubble on that coordinate. Each player will start the game by building on an extra factory, then placing several factories and specifying their starting resources. हे वाचायला लागेल. स्टार्टिंग फेज. Okay, starting phase. So during the first round of the game, each player is given the map. ठीक है, map है. Starting resources. ठीक है. N factories and N times 150 water and ore. अरे N किती? And are asked to bid for who goes first, second. Each one bid removes 1 water and 1 ore from the player's starting resources. Each player responds in turn 1 with their bid, which can be positive to prefer going first or negative to prefer going second. अच्छा ठीक है. So तुमचा, you have to like predict how much confident you are that you will win the game if you start first. Is that right? Whichever player places the highest absolute bid loses the amount of water and ore. ठीक है, ते कळलं. and gets to place first or second if the bid is negative. If both players tie in bid amount, then the first player, player 0, wins the bid. Okay? During the next two end turns of the game, each player alternates between spawning a factory or doing nothing as the other player spawns a factory, with the winner of the bid placing first. Each player may select any location on the map that can fit a 3x3 factory that doesn't overlap any ice or resources, and the center is 6 tiles or more away from the another existing factory center, and any factory or starting resources not used are lost. अरे काय इंग्लिश आहे हे गावठी. Any factories or starting resources are used, not used are lost. Do feel free to chat, guys. So whoever is joining, hello to them. Coffee simply. Well, that's okay. Is there some like video or something? Night has fallen, will be back by sunrise. But that's okay. Okay, just let's look at the actions. So like robots and factories can perform actions each turn given certain conditions and enough power to do so. Can perform actions each turn. Okay, in general all actions are simultaneously applied and are validated against the state of the game at the start of a turn. Each turn players can give an action to each factory and a queue of actions to each robot. Okay, so every turn you get to give a queue of actions to the each robot, and like you can update them if you want. So like each turn, if you like ये कैसे चलता है is like if your robot you have given the action of going right, okay, and like so if you don't do anything, the robot will keep going right every turn, right? And like after like 2 turns, if you wish that next turn it should go up, so you just update it to up. So if you do right, and then you update it to up, right, so it will go up, right. And like yeah, always execute actions from an action queue limited to 20 items. So like you can give 20 actions at a time. While factories directly execute actions, each robot action in the queue has an n value and represent and a repeat value. Okay, and the number of times the robot will execute a particular action before removing it from the front of the queue, and repeat whether or not to replace action. Right. So this is basically a convention. So an action is considered executed if it's valid against current state, namely there is sufficient power to perform the action. Is not valid, then it is not controlled. So I'll just put these links in the chat for you guys if you want. And so this is the one link, and let's go to Kaggle. Like let's see competitions, search Lux AI. Okay, so like they have not given the, so this is the Lux AI beta. So you can Luxia season 2 beta. So if you want season 2 beta, so you can like check this out, and like this one is the so Lux, the original Luxia. You can go on Kaggle, guys, and like you can look at the code etc if you want. So Lux AI season 1. These are the links. I've shared it to you guys, so you can check this out. So very like you can compete along with me. So I will try to win if we can. But like yeah, it's a learning experience. सीखने को आया भाई लोग. अपोनिच भारी बोलने का चालू करने का. जगत भारी. हाँ, तर actions का है move the robot in one of the 5 directions. Okay, so north, east, south, west and center. अच्छा इग्नोर करते हैं, ठीक है. Transfer, send any amount of a single resource type including power from a robot's cargo to orthogonal adjacent tile to the tile it is standing on. If the robot is on the target tile, it will receive the transferred resources up to the robot's cargo. अच्छा तो तुम्ही like you okay, send any amount of single resource from a robot's cargo to an orthogonally adjacent tile or to a tile it is standing on. So like you can just keep your resources and power aside. This is good. So like if you know you're going to die, so you can like throw away your resources, let the robot die, and like someone else can come and pick it up. This is nice. And also like you can, this is how you drop the energy and resources to your factory. Algorithmically we perform the following procedure. The environment creates transfer requests for every robot that wants to transfer and remove the specified resources from the robot's cargo. All transfer requests are attempted to be fulfilled, and any excess caused by not enough cargo space, either robot has no space or too many robots transferring to the same road and go over the maximum waste होना. Okay, so like don't give away anywhere. On the top of any factory tile, अच्छा हे पिकअप काय कळलं नाही बघूया. dig a number of things depending on what tile the robot is on top of. Okay, so like when you give dig command, rubberless resource tile, gain raw resources, ice or ore. Rubble reduces rubble by 2 if light, 20 if heavy. Lichen reduces lichen value by 10 if light, 100 if heavy. If lichen value was previously greater than 0 and is now 0, rubble is added. 2 if light, 220 if heavy. Okay. So like you can use dig command to dig whatever there is on that tile. So like is dig a move, or like you can keep walking and like keep digging? You have to check this. Self-destruct is also there, recharge is there, repeat is there. Like there are many things. Okay, if you see action, light versus heavy. Okay, as they said, like movement. Each square of the map has a rubble value, and which affects how difficult the square is to move into. Rubble value is an integer ranging from 0 to 100. The exact power required to move into a square with rubble can be found on the table above. Rubble can be removed from a square by a light or a heavy robot by executing the dig action while occupying the square. The environment also has robot collisions. Robots which move on the same square on the same turn can be destroyed and add rubble to the square according to the following rules. So heavy robots that end their turn on a square with only other light robots will destroy all the light robots. I'll leave the single heavy robot unaffected. Okay. Same weight and the turns, same square root. If only one of them square root survives. If now then let's move on to the square, all are destroyed. Like this is very complicated, guys. Gain 50 for each turn. Okay, so factories each turn will gain 50 power. Number of collected lichens, convert up to 100 ice into 25 water, 50 ore into 10 metal. Okay, consume 1 water. So like if you don't get water, it will die. And like, okay, each factory can perform one of the following actions. So factories can also perform action. That is nice. So build a heavy robot, build a light robot, grow lichen, water lichen around the factory. Costing seal. Connected lichen tiles divided by 10 water. Acha. So like if there are 11 tiles, so 11 by 10 is 1.1 and seal will give you 2. So you will require 2 water to water them. So like it is better to keep the lichen tiles to 10 until you cannot build like 5 more. This is also like one thing to look at, because like this is using a seal command, right? All the robots when built will have their battery charge up to power cost. Power cost 50, metal cost 10, power cost 500, heavy robot 100. अच्छा ठीक है. Lichen serves 2 purposes. At the end of the game, the amount of lichen on each square that a player owns is summed, and whoever has a higher value wins the game. अच्छा, you own a tile also, right? For each tile with lichen attached to a factory, the factory gains an extra power per turn. अच्छा. So like if you have 12 lichen tiles attached, the factory gets more power, and like if you that is okay, but like if you have more tiles, so you also need to control that space, because like people can come and dig that lichen and take it away, right? But like what do we do of the collected lichen? So this is dig command, right? Dig. Reduce lichen value by 10 if light, 100 if heavy. If lichen value was previously. Achha, so like this can be done to just destroy the lichens. Oh. But like I didn't get, can you just collect the lichen? So like if I keep running on your thing, your lichens will drop, but like okay, look, let's see the win conditions. So actually most lichen value on the map, right. If we keep walking on their tiles, the lichen goes down. Oh, got it. Hello guys, so this is the Lux AI challenge stream. Whoever has joined, hi new joiner. I've given the links in the chat if you can see them. Like there are many things, background, environment, the map. I'll just put in the Git repo also for the Lux AI. GitHub if you want. Git repo. So they just launched this competition right now on the stream. We watched the stream. Okay, so there's this discussion tab that they've given. This is a deep reinforcement learning approach which they have shared. These were the visualizations. ये यूट्यूब पे कौन देख रहा है, देखने का ये रहता है क्या ऑप्शन? कुठे व्ह्यूअर्स कुठे? स्ट्रीम सेटिंग्स. काय माहिती. Here, this is the first season. You can see same things are happening, like similar things. And like there will also be a render function for this. So like whatever agents we train, there will be some 3D animation which we can see if our agent is good enough. So I don't know what season 1 was. I never tried it. But yeah. Yeah, so this is the Lux AI challenge, guys. And we are going to try to compete in this competition, try to win it if you are able to. Yep. And so like if you have to see, if we see, go on to the leaderboard, and if we look at this stored bridge submission, well, they've given the solution. That's nice. So we can read this solution if we want later. So until this competition is launched, you can like look into the season 1 of this, and like whoever wants to like compete with me and like discuss, to join our Discord. I have this I have this Discord channel. I'll put it in the description, so you can join the Discord and we can have discussions. I'll just create a new channel for Lux AI challenge.